If you're in the market for a Ford Ranger and you can't quite justify spending the big bucks on a Raptor, but you won't settle for an XLT, then perhaps this is for you. This is the Ford Ranger FX4 Max, part high performance ute, part people mover and part work truck. But in trying to be all of those things, does it miss the mark entirely? Well, that's what we're here to find out, so stick around. For even more details on this vehicle, read my full review at carsguide.com.au. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, and make sure you tap that bell icon to stay up to date with all of our content. The Ford Ranger FX4 Max is available only as a dual cab ute with a tub, only with a 2-litre bi-turbo 4-cylinder diesel engine, and only with 4x4. It has a 10-speed automatic transmission. The FX4 Max has a list price of $65,940, but our test vehicle has the optional Conquer Grey paint, as well as stickers and the tech pack, which includes adaptive cruise control and park assist. Those additions bring its price as tested to $68,140. Standard FX4 Max features include an 8-inch multimedia touchscreen, and that's with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, dual zone climate control, AEB reversing camera, and a rear diff lock. It does not have blind spot monitoring. In terms of exterior dimensions, we'll throw those exact measurements up on screen, but right now I want to run through some of the more noteworthy things that Ford has done with this vehicle. First up, the grille. You can't miss that massive Ford. Next up are the tyres, and these are BF Goodrich all-terrains, KO2, so very decent tyres, really aggressive, plenty of bite, and really effective off-road. I'm a big fan of those. What I'm not a fan of are stickers. They look like something out of an episode of Starsky and Hutch, which I loved when I was a kid, but I don't necessarily want them on my ute. You might love them, but I'm not a big fan. They're not my cup of tea. Moving on. Under the surface, there's the Aussie tuned and locally tested suspension, and that's coils at the front and leaf springs at the rear, but Fox racing shocks all round. It has a wider wheel track than the XLT by 26mm, and it has a taller stance, and that's due to its upgraded suspension, which also means that it has 256mm of ground clearance. That's 19mm more than the XLT, but 27mm less than the Raptor. If you're interested in a ute, then I'm sure you want to know about the tray. Now, we'll put exact measurements up on screen now, but in the meantime, I'll let you in on a few things. Firstly, there's an assisted tailgate for lowering and raising. You've got a pretty sturdy tub liner. You've got 4 good tie-down points at each corner of the tub, and you've also got a 12-volt socket. Now, beyond that, there's not a whole lot. You do get a shallow cup holder in the tub there. They come in handy. But now we'll check out the rear seat. The back seat is very comfortable, and that's no surprise in a Ranger, but I have plenty of head, knee and toe room. It really is quite comfortable. These seats are a mix of suede and leather, and you do get a few amenities in the back, not the least of which is a cup holder in the fold-down armrest. You get seat back mat pockets, bottle holders in the door. You get a couple of power points here, 230 volt and a 12 volt. You get grab handles up on the inside here for when you get in and out, and I'm a big fan of grab handles. All in all, it's a nice, comfortable space. If you've ever been in a Ranger cabin, then you'll know to expect a nice, comfortable space. And it is, but in the FX4 Max, it is a peculiar mix of hard plastic surfaces like those on the dash and scattered around the cabin, and the rubber mats, mixed in with premium style material like the seats and the FX4 Max branding. Otherwise, there are all the usual amenities you will have come to expect in a contemporary ute, and that includes a multimedia touchscreen, and that works nicely in the Ranger, and you've got charge points for your smartphone and your other devices, as well as storage spaces, cup holders, bottle holders, and a shallow center console. But what is unusual about the cabin of the FX4 Max is that you also get an auxiliary switch panel, and that is there to control your aftermarket gear, stuff like lights, winch and air compressor, and I think that's a pretty handy addition. On road, there are a few surprises. Steering is well weighted, that bi-turbo engine and 10-speed auto work pretty well together, as they always have. Throttle response is pretty punchy, but ride and handling aren't as Raptor-esque as you'd imagine. I've driven Ford Rangers of pretty much all variants on all sorts of terrain, and a lot of that has been hardcore four-wheel driving. And I've always been pretty impressed with how they've gone. The 2-litre bi-turbo diesel engine and the 10-speed automatic transmission, they're a proven combination and have done well in the past, and it is a pretty good matchup here. Again, throttle response is good in low speed, low range four-wheel driving. It gives you a controlled, sustained momentum up and down hills and through deep ruts, and is, again, generally pretty impressive. You've got plenty of visibility and you can see all around you at all times, which is really important to get your head around the correct line on the track. The BF Goodrich all-terrain KO2 tyres are really well suited to difficult off-roading, and they really prove their worth when things become a little bit challenging. What is also good is that there is plenty of torque, and that's at low revs, and that's very important. In fact, it's crucial when you are tackling the really tough stuff, because it'll keep you trucking along and get you through. And the traction control system is pretty efficient, as is the hill descent control, keeping you to a steady, sustained pace so you avoid getting into any strife. That blend of suspension, especially at the rear, the Fox Racing shocks and the leaf spring rear, doesn't yield a discernible benefit. It produces a kind of chopped up ride, and that's obvious on fast dirt tracks, and that's even noticeable during low speed, low range four-wheel driving. While the FX4 Max has increased ground clearance and off-road angles over something like the XLT, it can't better the Raptor. And the Raptor also has a deeper wading depth. While the FX4 Max doesn't perform as well as the Raptor does off-road, it does win out in a few other areas. Its payload is listed as 981 kilograms, and that's 223 kilograms more than the Raptor. It also has claimed towing capacities of 750 kilograms unbraked and 3,500 kilograms braked, so it can tow 1 ton more than the Raptor. This ute has a 5-star ANCAP safety rating from testing in 2015. Safety gear includes 6 airbags, autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping aid and more. Fuel consumption is a claimed 8 litres per 100 kilometres on a combined cycle. It was showing 9.9 litres per 100 kilometres on our dash, but actual fuel consumption on test is on screen now. This Ranger has an 80-litre fuel tank and a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty. The Ford Ranger is a decent ute in most variants already, which is why I don't see a real need for the FX4 Max. It kind of straddles the fence between being a high-performance Raptor and a work and play ready XLT, and it never really succeeds at either. It ends up just being a pumped up XLT and a Raptor wannabe. But what do you reckon? Have your say in the comments section below.